All right, welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Thursday, August 23rd, 2018. Want to start off real quick here at SPACEWEATHER.com like always, but I want to talk about the possible of a CME impact this week. Now, Earth's magnetic field could become unsettled on August 24th or the 25th when a slow-moving CME reaches our planet. They say here there is much uncertainty about this CME. NASA and ESA satellites saw the solar storm could leave the sun on August 21st, but they cannot pinpoint its source on the solar disk, nor could they precisely determine its trajectory. If the CME does indeed hit Earth, it could spark auroras around the Arctic Circle. So, just a little update on a possibility of some CME action, which would only just be visible in our skies. Now let's get to the space weather news here. Taking a look at solar wind speeds. We got sitting at 394 even right now, kilometers per second with a density of 4.5. I'm going to say goodbye to AR 2719 as my sources are telling me we no longer have a sunspot. It is very small at this time, number 12 when this was reported. We will probably see a day number 133 tomorrow. Taking a look at our KP indices, we are sitting at a 1 and a 24-hour max of 2. And we take a look at our sun right now, and the SDO is displaying multiple weak areas in the corona. However, nothing really organized as far as coronal holes go. Taking a look at the SDO in motion, on our end, it looks like that some of our tools are down, but this one is still up. Just looking for any kind of filaments or CMEs. Other than that, it is all quiet, as it should be. Taking a look at our TSI reading for August 15th, 2018. Looks like we're down to about a 1360.78, which is only a value of 0.02 less than what it was the last time we reported this. And I want to talk about Hurricane Lane right now. Actually, let me go ahead and give you the latest before I start reading this article here on CBS News. Go ahead and put this up for you guys. All right, so here we are. Here's a look at where Lane is now projected to go, and I will go ahead and give you the latest on Lane. Excuse me for my unpreparedness. Here we go. As of 5 a.m. Hawaiian time Thursday, Hurricane Lane had become a maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. The storm's center was about 200 miles southwest of Kona and about 300 miles south of Honolulu. Hurricane force winds extend 35 miles from the center, while tropical storm winds extend 140 miles. Lane is moving northwest slowly at 7 miles per hour. Already 12 inches of rain has been reported on the Big Island, and the forecast is for 10 to 20 inches total. There is an isolated amount of 30 inches. Life-threatening flooding is one of the concerns, along with damaging wind gusts and dangerous surf. Lane is expected to weaken but drop a lot of rainfall. Next update will be near 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Hawaii time. So I wanted to show the update on that, and then we'll go to Mike's weather page, as anytime we have a hurricane that's actually happening, this is the website that we will use. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Lane looks like right now. Let's zoom this in a little bit. Here we go. So imagine if the Big Island's already seen 12 inches of rain. Imagine if this bad boy had trekked a little bit more to the east, and it's clearly moving to the west more now. It was going north-northwest. I see this storm shifting west a lot earlier than anticipated, which is great news because there was 3 scenarios about this storm. The one, which is kind of the track it's on right now, where Hawaii, the Big Island, sees a lot of rain, still a lot of surf from this. And you can see, guys, there's a lot of moisture behind this system, so it's going to be interesting to watch where everything kind of pans out here. Multiple systems here. This hurricane is passing by Hawaii. It looks like somewhat safely. However, 30 inches of rain in localized areas is a huge amount of rain, and I've seen some people maybe possibly exaggerating the total around 60 inches. I don't know if we're going to quite get that. I think the way it's moving right now to the west, I think that possibility might be diminishing, but certainly 12 to 20 inches right now is not out of the question, as most of the main island has gotten 12 inches of rain. But three scenarios they had. One, which was if it was going a little bit further east, we would look at some dangerous flooding, flash flooding, high surfs, lots of beach erosion. The second scenario was a little bit neutral, but still lots of rainfall, still dealing with wind and wave issues. And then the third one, which is where I think this storm is going to make its trek to, which was going to be minimal wind damage, more of a rain event, some flood to watch for, surf not as bad. So right now this storm appears to be making the left turn as we speak, and hopefully it will continue to move more due west than north of anything. So still lots of rain, still going to fall, not minimizing it. There's still a lot of things we have to get through here in the next 24 hours, but there is some good news about this storm. Taking a look at CBS here, and it says emergency shelters open. Rain began to pour down. Cell phone alerts went out. The approaching hurricane lane started to feel real for Hawaiian residents. Lane was forecasted to continue northwest turn into the islands Thursday and be the most powerful storm to hit Hawaii since Hurricane Iniki, in 1992, which I've seen a lot of people on social media talking about that storm. And there's people who are still having anxieties from the strength of that storm back then. So a lot of people experiencing some familiar feelings that they don't really care for right now. Hurricanes are rank 1-5, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. So it was a 4 as of today, but this storm will continue to weaken as we will see as it makes its turn to the west. It will get caught up in some upper winds, and that shear will dramatically reduce this storm. We're talking a Category 1 by 7-8 p.m. our time here on the East Coast. So by midday, this storm is going to weaken a lot, especially overnight. We're going to see it drop all the way down to a Category 1. Before this bad boy pops out of here, it'll be just a tropical storm. But right now, all is well. Hopefully it continues this track going due west. Right now, it takes a huge jump here at the end of this loop where everything looks like it's going to start shifting more westward than north-northwest. Let's get back to the article. It says here, we expect a gradually weaken as it gets closer to the islands, which I just explained. That being said, on the current forecast, as of this afternoon on Thursday, we still have it as major hurricane. Unlike Florida and Texas, where residents can get their cars and drive hundreds of miles to safety, people in Hawaii are confined in the islands, must stay put. Well, that's kind of scary, you put it that way. President Trump declared a state of emergency in Hawaii late on Wednesday, authorizing the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA to coordinate disaster relief efforts with the state. CBS News correspondent Mira Virali reported that Honolulu has 150 FEMA emergency responders ready to go. And the U.S. Navy has moved ships out to sea to avoid the powerful storm as well. Everyone's taking their preventions here. Listen, FEMA's already in the area. So that's about the only positive about this storm, thanks to Kilauea and its actual situation. But here it says the Central Pacific Hurricane Center in Honolulu forecast total rain accumulations of 10 to 20 with localized amounts in excess of 30 inches on the Hawaiian Islands. So, again, a lot of the numbers are coming through now, and it feels like they have a good sense of this storm. 10 to 20 inches is a lot of rain. It's no Harvey by any means, or Maria or Irma, but still lots of rain to that area, and they've been dealing with the disaster with Kilauea, how it's transforming the big island in that little corner, and now they may be dealing with more erosion due to large waves, high winds, and of course looks like we're going to be dealing with some flash flooding as well. I'll leave the link in the description. And while we have this strong hurricane going on, I mean, I've kind of mentioned this here lately, a couple shows that we've done, and I've got 3 articles here back to back. Actually, I erased one of them. Strong and shallow 6.2 hits off the coast of Oregon. Now, this was yesterday. It was a shallow earthquake of about 6.2 miles. No people living within the area. This did just happen off the coast. So we're not talking about, people had felt, some tremendous shaking. Only about 1,000 people were estimated to feel light shaking, and almost 4,000. I'm sorry, they say almost 4 million here. That's a huge jump. So about 4 million felt a weak shaking. And then we had also on the 22nd a 6.5 earthquake in Vanuatu. A strong and shallow earthquake registered by the USGS at 6:05 on 22:32 UTC time on August 21st. So that was the day before. Depth of that was 8.3 miles. Some people did feel the shaking from this, moderate to weak. As you look here, moderate is kind of in the middle there. So they had quite a few people that did feel this quake. And this area is already, I mean, you can see here, this area has already been littered with tons of seismic activity. It's been ongoing with volcanoes and earthquakes in this region. And while I'm here, I want to bring up the other one too. Here we go. This one is near a volcano in Alaska. Strong earthquake registered by the USGS hits near 6.3 near Tananga Volcano, and that's in the Adriatic Islands. And that was at 3:56 UTC time today. According to USGS, it was a depth of 37.3 miles, so not quite as shallow. Some folks, let's see if we had any people feeling the seismic activity. Says about 200 people lived about 62 miles within this area. It doesn't appear any structural damage or anything like that yet. Reports are early, but here we have the last 2 days, a 6.2 on the west coast of Oregon. Then you have the 6.5 in Vanuatu. And then we go up here for the 6.3 in Alaska. And I wish I would have brought my USGS map. Oh, here, I'll tell you what. I know I have. We'll go to our handy dandy little. I know we have it. Yep, USGS. Thank God Mari did what she did with this website. We've neglected it, but she has built the foundation of what we wanted here on this channel. Okay, so I brought up a map of earthquakes, and I wanted to point out a few of the recent ones here. We had one here off of Venezuela. It's not being shown for some reason. I have no idea, but that was the 7.3. We had one near Mexico City. Of course, we had that string of strong volcanoes up here in Alaska, and now we have some off of the islands out here. I mean, this circle has been off the chart. And this one right here, you know, just to complete the circle in Oregon. So lots of 6 points. I'd say, 6.2 and higher is what we've experienced here in the last 10 days. You know, are we on another verge of another volcano eruption, a major one? Rob and I talk a lot about this. You know, I'm not going to try to reveal anything. These are just thoughts, but we have an idea where we think, and it's somewhere in Central, America, somewhere Mexico, South America, Central America type area where we're kind of keeping our eyes on, and he is anyway, keeping me up to date with the information as well. And right now, a lot of things he's saying to me is lining up with what's happening. So it'll be very interesting to watch as we have, it seems like every day we're reporting on at least a 6.2 or higher earthquake throughout the region. And here we go. CNN opinion piece. If Trump and the GOP don't understand climate change, they don't deserve public office. Wrong on every level. Okay. I enjoy these articles. I know some of you don't care for them, but I like these. And I had a comment in the comment section the other day, and it was a lady, and she said she'd been wanting to comment for a while, but was afraid of getting ridiculed or insulted or attacked. And first of all, I want to say thanks to everyone who has avoided doing any of the things that she had said, because I feel like she's kind of a skeptic of what we talk about here on this channel. Nonetheless, she has that right to be a skeptic, and she asks questions. I haven't gotten around to answering them yet. I was hoping maybe somebody else could step in, but I can get to that as soon as I can. But The interesting thing is that she made the comment that I was making fun of people that believe in global warming. It's not that I'm making fun of them because of that they believe in it. It's some of the policies and some of the things they talk about and some of the science they put forth where they think this is data or this is the true information for their theory. That's what I'm making fun of. I'm making fun of these ridiculous comments, like something right here from CNN, and I'll read a little bit of this as well. I'm making fun of people like Stevie Wonder who want to connect global warming to Aretha Franklin's lung cancer. I'm making fun of people who think that if they get lower population numbers that we'll have a cooler planet. I'm making fun of people who think that we have to shut down all the coal plants because it's causing warming. And yet I point out on this channel, and I think in the comment they asked for how should we rely on your data. Well, the data that I'm using is the same data that you can go look up yourself and find. That's why I believe in this science. That's why I believe in what we report over here, because this information is not just for, the special people. This is stuff that we look at that you can look at, and that's why Mari and I put the links in the description, and we preach it all the time. Do your own research. I'm a talking head. I report on this stuff. I give you my opinions from time to time, and I try to be a strong supporter of this community and what it stands for. And just like in the meme that Mari made today, opinions don't matter. Facts do. And that's the truth. But anyway, we'll go into... I just wanted to mention that I don't want her to think that I was ignoring her questions. I can get to those questions and answer them, but it's not that I'm making fun of people for believing in global warming. It's how ridiculous. And they don't ever support their claims with any real information. So here this Jill Filipovic, whatever her name is a journalist based in New York, Nairobi, Kenya, and the author of a book called The H-Spot, The Feminist Pursuit of Happiness. Follow her on Twitter. The opinions expressed in this commentary are solely those of the author. View more articles on CNN, which Mari had Climatriot News Network, apparently. That's a good name. Oh, What's Up With That? I'm sorry. What's Up With That had put that word Climatriot right here. Brilliant. Way to go, guys. They always put from the blah, blah, blah department. This one's the best. From the Climatriot News Network. Okay, so the Trump administration's latest efforts to undo more of Barry's efforts to slow climate change comes as no surprise. Undo more of Barry's efforts to slow climate change. The first problem with that statement was that until you understand there's nothing that man can do to slow down climate change, natural climate change, that's when you realize that these policies are silly. Nothing gets this president more excited than trying to undo his predecessor's legacy. No. He's listening to the people he's put around him who are specialized in these areas of science, which is CO2 is not warming the planet. He's got tons of people telling him this. That's the only reason why he keeps putting these people in place at the EPA and throughout his cabinet. Most of these people are climate skeptics. And there's a reason for it, because there's new research over the past 10 to 15 years that's surfaced, and it's really astonishing how different the narrative is now. And there's a lot more people out there, I think, who are becoming a lot more skeptical of man-made global warming and global warming, period. But anyway, we keep reading. In any reasonable universe, those who deny basic scientific facts that connect this grim reality to humans' role in global warming would be deemed unfit to hold office. Imagine if a congressman who questioned whether gravity was real. Well, that's a knock at the electric universe, people. Imagine a congressman who questioned whether... Okay, I said that. Or a senator who insisted that the earth was flat. Sorry. We would rightfully say that they're intellectually deficient, and their bizarre theories mean they probably shouldn't be making vital decisions that affect millions of Americans, not to mention billions more around the world. But that's funny, because there was senators and congressmen who, one guy doubts the gravity, and this gentleman here also doubts what we got here. Oh, here's a flat earther. So we've had Congress and senators who believe in flat Earth and who also believe in the theory that gravity is not real. And I don't want to get into that right now because, like I said, that's Electric Universe people. Some of the folks that I used to associate with that taught me a little bit about Electric Universe was trying to explain to me how gravity was not really there. It's all about magnetism, but that's for another show. Now, he's putting this together. This is great. He's putting this together, asking Miss Philoppic if she's following along. Gravity and curvature of the Earth's surface upheld by trivial scientific experiments. Even though Democrats Representative Waxman and Johnson probably wouldn't have comprehended those experiments, they were still qualified for public office because they met the constitutional requirements, and a majority of the voters in their respective congressional district were stupid enough to vote for them. I'm sorry. It's funny. Also, you are not correct to mention billions more around the world. They don't count. They are counted in the census, nor can they vote in U.S. elections unless they are U.S. citizens residing, visiting, or stationed in other nations. But somehow climate change falls in a different category. Yes, climate change does fall in a different category than gravity and the curvature of the Earth's surface. Very different. Why? Because climate change is a proven theory. It's been tested. It's been proven over and over. And, like I said, we have theories that it's man-made. We have theories that it's natural. The flat Earth situation, in my opinion, is a huge conspiracy. God bless you, as my favorite Browns player would say. Gotta bless them. That's what I'm going to say to flat earthers. Gotta bless them. Gotta bless them. 30 years ago, barely 17 years after the Apollo 15, Commander David Scott upheld theory of gravity. Okay, here's more proof. NASA's climatriot scientist, James Hansen, disproved catastrophic anthropogenic global warming. Wow, wait, what's that? NASA climatriot scientist James Hansen disproved catastrophic AGW? Again, the biggest question I get when I tell people that I don't think we're warming anymore, that I don't believe that man has anything to do with it, the biggest one is, well, how come all these thousands of scientists say it's warming and you guys are like the minority? Look, that kind of goes along with the narrative of, so what you're saying is, as long as the majority says it's real, it's real. And it's kind of like the same situation that's happening in South Africa right now, where there is a huge problem, where the South African government is taking away farmland from white folks out there in South Africa. And there was and this is why you can't lump me in with any particular party, because I'm kind of disappointed at the State Department right now. Mike Pompeo's response in one way or the other kind of referenced that, they held meetings for this and they were holding people aware that this was going to happen. So, hey, and it's like, okay, so the majority agreed with it and they held a meeting about it, but there's no compensation in place, but yet, sorry, we're taking your farmland. White or black, that's wrong. But apparently right now there is a concern of some racism right now of these white farmers who are having their property seized by the South African government with no compensation. So tell me how that's not racist. I don't know, but it's the same thing when you think about it, comparing the two situations. And I don't understand where people are having a hard time understanding why there's so many people that are starting to change the narrative now of climate change. I think now, and Mari can agree with this too on Facebook, we've seen a little bit more people out there who are starting to see the light a little bit. The door's opening a little bit wider for them, and they're getting curious. Our Facebook page proves it. We have so many people who join our closed group and our regular group on Facebook, and everybody says the same thing. I want to learn more about GSM. I've recently seen the light. I don't believe in this man-made crap. Al Gore's a liar. Constantly, over and over and over again. And it's encouraging to see. I got to be honest with you. I'm glad there's so many people who aren't just your obvious, yeah, I know it's happening, I just want to be in the group. No, we get people who are global warmists at first, and now they're starting to, their eyes are opening. They're seeing things they're not used to seeing. Leaves changing already. That's not that uncommon here in northeast part of the country in late August, but as hot as it's been lately, it's kind of weird to see, actually. I think it caught a lot of us off guard. Sorry. I was going to play that, but apparently it doesn't want to play. Thanks to What's Up With That. And here's an article. Napoleon at Waterloo versus the volcano. Napoleon lost. And thanks to Rob once again. He's the first one that kind of directed me to this article. And I'm going to read a little bit about this because this makes a lot of sense to me. I can't tell you, when I read this, I started thinking about the volcano eruptions that produce lightning strikes, like super big bolts of lightning. So that's what I was thinking about when I read this. But it says Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo caused in part by Indonesian volcano eruption. Electrically charged volcanic ash short-circuited Earth's atmosphere in 1815, causing global poor weather. Napoleon's defeat, says the new research. And very new research, actually. Historians know that the rainy and muddy conditions helped the Allied army defeat the French Emperor Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo in June of 1815, changed the course of European history. 2 months prior, a volcano, Mount Tambora, erupted on the Indonesian island of Sumbawa, killing 100,000 people and plunging the earth into the year without a summer in 1816. Just some basic facts, but what was interesting here is that now Dr. Matthew Jean from the Imperial College London has discovered that electrified volcanic ash from the eruptions can short-circuit the electrical circuit of the ionosphere, the upper-level atmosphere that is responsible for cloud formation. The findings published today in Geology could confirm that suggested link between the eruption and Napoleon's defeat. Interesting. Dr. Jean's Imperial Department of Earth Science and Engineering suggests that Tambora eruption short-circuited the ionosphere, ultimately leading to a pulse of cloud formation. This brought heavy rain across Europe and contributed to Napoleon's defeat. I guess when you think about it, and your conditions deteriorate quickly, as they do when you have these rain bombs. And now this just adds to the puzzle. Think about this. Now we're saying that, or we've always been saying that, but new research is proving that volcanic ash is a negative charge to the ionosphere, which makes total sense to me. We've seen all these storms that have been dropping torrential rains and just isolated. Is it possible that all these volcano eruptions that we have right now, that these negative charged ash plumes are reaching higher in the atmosphere and are creating these widespread rain bombs? And think about this. Apparently, we're just getting started, right? So what's going to happen in 10 years when we see even more volcanic activity and more eruptions, more flooding, more getting 10 inches of rain in a 14-hour period in areas that don't expect that kind of rain? Very, 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 very great content right here. And it got the wheels turning. The hamster started running around in my brain on the wheel, and it made sense. So you throw in your cosmic ray influence that seeds our clouds, and then you have disruption in the ionosphere, which creates even a sudden, bigger burst of cloud formation and heavier precipitation, which they're saying here in this article that kind of weather back then, if it was just a normal rain thunderstorm event, Napoleon wouldn't have been maybe hemmed up in the conditions that he was in. But since this was a huge storm, and if you read throughout this article, it talks about how maybe one of the most fatal mistakes that Napoleon made was waiting for the ground to dry by midday and launching their attack, versus if they just would have done it earlier. So they're saying that the heavy rains had basically delayed their war plans that ultimately probably led to their defeat, because other troops had caught up to the other group to help in the battle and assist in defeating Napoleon. So Great information. I'll leave the link in the description. Thank you once again, Rob, for pointing that in my direction. And here's some more ridiculousness. New Republic magazine also says the modern automobile, must die if we want to solve climate change. There's no other option. Climate Depot note, first they came for your plastic bags. True. Here in New York, those are banned. Then they came for your straws. True. Here in New York, those are banned. Then your balloons. Not sure about that, but I'm sure it's on the way. And now your cars. Transportation is now the largest source of carbon dioxide in the United States, but that's only because of all of the coal plants that have either been drastically reduced because of EPA regulations or have been closed altogether. It says in 2010, NASA studied and declared the automobiles were officially the largest net contributor to climate change pollution in the world. What NASA meant was that automobiles produce CO2, carbon dioxide. I don't believe NASA came out and said this is what was causing climate change. Carbon dioxide was being emitted from vehicles, and I will go ahead and take that with a grain of salt that it probably is the leading reason for carbon dioxide emissions. But as we speak over and over and over again, when we talk about atmospheric conditions and ocean, the ocean rules all. What man does put into the atmosphere is very small, and it does not influence or does not put enough impact on the climate conditions. Now, we've talked about this before. Does it affect air pollution and breathing quality? Absolutely. And I've always been a supporter of finding a way of having more filters in place for burning fuels like that so we can cut back on the pollutant of our atmosphere from emissions, exhaust. There's other things that go into the atmosphere than just carbon dioxide. But this made me think about, too, how back in the 60s, now, Germany, we all know they make great cars. BMW, Audi, Volkswagen. I'm trying to think of others. I'm sure there's more, but they make great cars. No doubt about that. I have a BMW. It's an older one, 2001. It's a 6-cylinder and drives amazing. I've had lots of cars, and I can tell you, of all the cars I've ever driven in my life, the BMW, hands down, is probably one of the best cars I've ever driven in my life. Beats any domestic car I've ever driven. But that being said, they are now leading the world, it looks like, in trying to come up with a way of producing an automobile and overhauling the gasoline engine. Germany has set standards to cut down their CO2 emissions by 40%. Right now they're sitting at 27.7. Now this goal, they wanted to meet it by 2020. So not doing bad right now, but I think they've hit a wall as far as how much more they can cut back. I mean, they've drastically shocked everyone, I think, with the 27.7 already. 40 is a huge target goal, and I'm proud of them for setting the bar so high. But the problem is the rest of the car industry won't follow along in Germany's lead. And this isn't the first time that Germany has come up with successful ways of building engines that don't pollute as much. Volkswagen, I can think of right off the top of my head, and back in the 60s, early 60s, had developed an engine that ran on hemp oil and produced zero emissions compared to what they release now. And I thought, in my mind, of course, once again, hemp will be the ultimate leader in resources, us first in the future, medicine, food, whatever. But all I heard was, what are people with gas stations going to do? Well, they convert. They start selling the hemp oil or the hemp fuel. It's not like just because you phase out gasoline that screws over Shell and BP. Shell and BP could also venture into the hemp industry and produce their own hemp oil to produce fuel. So, anyway, Volkswagen did it. It was successful, but again, our world was immature back then. They looked at cannabis as the evil devil weed, and of course that idea was shot down, and the oil field people out there were stand to lose a lot of money if we came up with another solution for resources for fuel, which I believe hemp would probably very, very, very much so cripple the oil industry. But hey, such is life. Like I said, you've got to learn to roll with the punches and adapt and get in the industry yourself. If you're Shell or BP, you get into that hemp industry. So this isn't the first time we've heard Germany trying to change the way we have automobile emissions. Unfortunately, they've already done it once. It was successful, but like I said, around the world, too many people have too much money tied up in oil, and until all that dries up, really, honestly, we're kind of stuck with just oil. Crude oil for fuel right now, in my opinion. Hopefully not, but it's looking that way. So anyway, I think that's it on the articles. Looking at our watch box, let's refresh this just to make sure. Yeah, we're all good right now. We got some flash flood warnings in parts of Arizona in the southern eastern tip anyway, and there is some severe thunderstorm watches going on in Texas. Folks, other than that, we are quiet, and we'll take a look at windy. And just like I said, we have some rain moving through Missouri and Arkansas, heading towards Illinois and Indiana. Some light showers going on in North Dakota, and some off and on rain in Arizona as well, in that area where they're looking for floods. This is monsoon season, so it's not unusual to see a flood warning or two right now. But other than that, guys, we are really, 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 really quiet. I wanted to show you the GFS because if you live in Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, watch out. This GFS run shows several chances of precipitation after the 26th, especially for Ohio. Also, Wisconsin and Missouri, Iowa gets in on this action, but towards the end of the month and beginning of next month, I'm looking at a lot of rain chances here for Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, parts of Tennessee, and of course the Northeast is going to get their fair share as well. And looking at the Gulf, there's a lot of tropical moisture moving into the southeast part of our country, but let me move this up so you guys can see. Nothing tropical though, just moisture and showers that come with it. I heard there was a suggestion out there that on the 8th of September there's a possible hurricane. This goes to the 8th, folks. I will go ahead and pause it right on the 8th for you. Take a look at the 8th. And we are clear as a whistle here in the Gulf for the most part on the Texas side. Some showers and rain on the panhandle of Florida and parts of Alabama. But we do see a low pressure system here off the Baja area of California, but that is moving also due northwest, so nothing to worry about as far as United States go in the lower 48. Taking a look at some of our ocean temperatures, a little bit of a warm up here in the East Tropical Atlantic. We jumped up just a little bit to a negative 0.583 below baseline. I'm being sarcastic about the warm up. Also, El Nino chances, guys. This is why the chances are dropping from 70% to 50%. We are looking at it right now, and the values are coming in at plus 155. Just in 4 days, they have dropped from the favorable area of where you would like to see the temperatures for a El Nino. I'm not saying it's out of the question. It's looking more like a neutral season to me, but still a lot of time to go. Right now, just the way this is looking, it doesn't seem to me it's going to be encouraging as far as rising above that temperature mark that we're looking at. I see things heading more to a downward trend. We've already seen it go up all the way, and now we're starting to see it drop down once again. It's trying to maintain some normalcy, but if you notice here over the past several weeks, it is slowly but surely not hitting its peak numbers that it was hitting earlier. So again, just to keep an eye on that. And also the North Atlantic still cold. We are sitting at a negative 0.504 on that value. So, you know, this trend might change a little bit, though. I am paying attention right here, and this indicates that it's a possibility that we could see temperatures decline just a little bit more and then start to rise again. So we'll keep our eyes on that, or this could bottom out. So it's been unpredictable most of the year. Surely a lot of folks out there did not expect to see the North Atlantic in the negative like this. And once again, just a reminder, Hurricane Lane is not going to be much of a direct hit, but a rainmaker, and a really, really large amount of rain right now. So we'll keep our eyes on that as well, and our thoughts and prayers with those people in Hawaii. Just like they mentioned earlier, there's nowhere to drive to. You're isolated on this island. So hopefully everybody pulls through well, and they've taken the necessary precautions to seek the proper shelter that is needed. Also, quickly, there is a small chance of some development here, and it is a 10% chance in the next 5 days. Nothing for the next 48 hours, but in the next 5 days, there is a low chance of disturbance. And here's what might encourage that is these temperatures right here. Taking a look here at the end, they kind of made a little bit of a jump. So if this continues to go up a little bit, that can help. That can help support this storm if the waters do kind of warm up a little bit in this area. But again, something we'll have to just keep our eyes on because, really, the last 2 months have been quiet, but there's been a lot of unknowns too when it comes to temperature and ocean SSTs. So again, this is already an intriguing start to what we're now looking at the end of our meteorological summer here on September 1st. And I'm sure we'll start seeing more stories here about early snows, but not just yet. We're still hanging on to summer, especially here in the Northeast. I did realize that we will be in the mid-80s and humid for the first part of next week. So I was hoping maybe we were past all that, but maybe just another few days of dog days of summer. And so now this is the part of the show where I like to check in with my producer and my partner in crime, Mari. Mari, how the hell are you, and how's everybody doing in the chat?
Well, starting off this afternoon show, Jake, I just couldn't believe the people popping in. We got Radical Gardener in here, Henrik, Rob, Starman, and a bunch of our regular subscribers. It's been a very pleasant conversation. We have some new people. Good. I don't know if they're new to the topic or new to the channel or both. There seems to be some confusion on solar minimum. Some are saying that we're out of a solar minimum. There's a difference between solar minimum and grand solar minimum. So, we are educating and trying to gain understanding of other people here in the chat, trying to figure stuff out. I'd like to say hello to everyone. It's a pleasure being on this early in the day to see all the faces. You're competing with Leak Project right now. He went live, and his title says Grand Solar Minimum in it, Jake. Can you believe that? What a coincidence.
Well, to each his own. And quickly, so for all of those people out there who are saying we're out of a minimum, I've seen that too a lot. And I got to tell you, I'm not sure why we are continuing to hear folks who continue to say that we're out of the minimum. Let me try to find you guys what I was trying. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is a perfect example. When you go by sunspots and where we're... I know, I'm getting ready to. Here we go. So, yep. Okay, so here we are. This is where we are currently. If we were out of the minimum, that means solar activity is going to just shoot right back up. But if you look here, and I don't know about you guys, but if you look at your past minimums, you bottom out for a couple of years, and then you start to rise again for the next cycle. We haven't even reached to the bottom yet. That's coming up right now. So I'm not going to make fun of you or anything like that. I'm just showing you, according to this chart here, sunspot activity and other solar cycles, this is where we are right now. So if there's any doubt that we've come out of a period like this, we haven't. And the scary thing is that who knows how long solar cycle 25 is the unknown right now too. But I just kind of wanted to show everybody that. Here's 3 years of a solid minimum at the bottom, and we're not even really into year 1 yet. So that's my argument. That's how I'm going to debate you on that one. As far as solar activity, it's all relevant. We talk about it every single day, and we see less and less sunspots. Comparing this to 11 years ago in 2007, we had 152 days. So at this point of the minimum, of our last minimum, we're already on pace to equal the numbers for 2007, which is what we're supposed to either judge historically off of how much deeper this minimum will be. Look at 2006 with 70 days. You compare that with 2017. We had 104. So we're already 34 days spotless more in 17 than where we were in 06. So far for 18, we're right on track to eclipse 152, which, by the way, only saw 42% spotless days in 07. So when I hear people say we're coming out of a minimum, and then I look at sunspot numbers and I see how much worse they are, and then when I mean worse, I mean lower. I'm just trying to put this logic together. Maybe we need to show them a few more videos about solar cycles. Who knows? But I trust we got Rob and Starman and Henrik. We got plenty of folks. Yeah, I got plenty of folks in there who know how to handle this situation, so I really don't have to continue. I will just go ahead and knock it off. Nobody likes a ranter. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you tuning in for today's show. I hope you got something out of it. We'll be back tomorrow night around 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then Saturday, join us once again. I think we're going to do another 4 o'clock show with the mighty, actually, I'm going to call him Uncle Henrik, as that's what he is now to the family. He is Uncle Henrik. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you got something out of the video. Please like and share, and we will talk soon. Thank you.